This is Ryan Elliott for Boxing Social in association with Betfred. We just had the weigh-in ahead of Fight Camp Week 3 with me, promoter Eddie Hearn. Eddie, we just saw that switch going, Joshua Buatsi there. Nice cold face-off. Whet the appetite for tomorrow night.
Fantastic. I mean, Bolotniks looked in some shape as well, didn't they? Pumped up, ready. I think this is going to be an absolute war on Saturday. So excited to see Joshua Buatsi in the real fight, you know, the real acid test of his career. I know how good Joshua Buatsi is. I want him to show it tomorrow night. I think he's going to show everybody that this kid is a future world champion, and he's right on the door now with this eliminator. Number 2 with the WBA, Bolotniks is number 3. It's a tremendous fight.
You said there you're expecting more. We know about Joshua Buatsi's boxing skills. Bolotniks yesterday said he wanted a street fight. Yeah. Is it just inevitable that at some point they're just going to go in there and trade?
I think so. I mean, look, Virgil will have you know, the game plan in place for Joshua Buatsi, and Josh has all the attributes from a technical point of view to break down Bolotniks nice. He has a beautiful jab, you know, straight punches. He can work on the inside, the outside, beautiful body puncher as well. But he does love to get involved in a war when he's up close, and that's what Bolotniks has to do. That's the way Bolotniks wins this fight, is to make it a street fight. And he's very good at doing that with his pressure. He can punch as well. So Josh has got to be smart, but I know that Josh loves to have a fight and a tear-up. Just got to do it at the right moments in this fight.
If he wins, and he wins well particularly, how far off is he? Do you think a world title shot could come before the end of the year?
I think so. I mean, you know, he talked about the regular title because obviously John Pascal been stripped of that title. You've got number 2 against number 3, number 1 as well for this fight. There is a number 1 in the rankings in place. I've forgotten his name now, the German. Come back to me shortly. And yeah, I think this is the acid test to show if he's ready for Bivol and Joe Smith and, you know, Beterbiev and all these guys. You've got to go in and beat Bolotniks well. I think it's going to be a really tough fight.
One person I want to ask you about is the Cash-Farouk fight. I heard you talking about how these Mexican guys keep coming over and they're performing now. How dangerous is this Castillo fight tomorrow night?
Really, really dangerous. I mean, obviously, the story of Castillo is unbelievable, if you're aware of it. You know, he was born deaf and unable to speak, and his sign language has been developed with his coach over the last 12 years. It's an incredible story. And comes from Acapulco, super tough, can punch. You know, he's a big bantamweight as well. This is a really tough fight for Cash-Farouk. He's just got to be smart in this fight, break him down, do all the things that maybe Josh Warrington and James Tennyson didn't do, which was just take your time, break him down, be smart, outbox him. But Cash is another one that loves to have a fight, and we've seen that in his recent fight. So Cash-Farouk against Castillo will be a really good fight on Saturday.
I know your scouting report from the Mexican guys says that Castillo can really bang as well. Do you feel Cash-Farouk can't afford to be hit as much as he was in his last fight?
Without question. And, you know, sometimes, though, I think you feel a guy's power early on. You feel as though you can stand in the pocket and trade a little bit more. I think Cash knows in this fight he can't do that. And he did get hit too much in his last fight, and that's not the aim of the game. So I'm sure his corner team have told him about how to fight this fight. Be smart. He has tremendous skills, and he should outskill Castillo and break him down, but it's going to be very, very dangerous in there.
Yesterday the circular was put out for the British. McGregor-Farouk 2 was ordered. Is that a fight that interests you later in here?
For sure. I mean, it won't be for the British title. You know, I mean, I think it wasn't at our request or even Lee McGregor's request that fight was ordered for the British title, because it's a fight that should be a world title or certainly a final eliminator. I've been speaking to Lee McGregor's team. I've made them offers as well, and you know, we want to do that. We want to move forward, and I think Lee McGregor is a tremendous fighter. Cash-Farouk, great fight. I watched that fight first time around. You know, I've told Lee McGregor, I think I've said in interviews before, I felt Cash-Farouk deserved to win that, but Lee McGregor has improved so much since then. So has Cash. And it's just a great fight that I think we need for Scottish boxing. It's Glasgow against Edinburgh. It's got everything. And hopefully Cash gets through on Saturday, and I think they'll box once more this year, and then I'd like to do it sort of February, March of 2022. It's just a fight that, and fair play to Lee McGregor, because I saw him here last week. He wants that fight. You know, he knows that some people felt that he didn't win that fight. He knows that he's improved, and he wants to go and prove a point, and he wants a big fight in Scotland. So fair play to him, fair play to Cash. Fingers crossed they keep winning, and for sure we want to see that fight.
Raymond Ford, I spoke to him just before the weigh-in today. He's very confident putting on a good performance. He also told me that he feels he would beat the likes of Kid Galahad and Lee Wood now, having watched Fight Camp. How far away is he? Do you think he needs maybe another year of development before he's ready? Because I know for a fact he told me he wants those kind of guys sooner rather than later.
You need to show that you're ready for that. His last performance, yes, you know, he had a poor camp, he had a child. It doesn't matter. He drew. Should have won the fight. But you're only as good as your last performance, and that wasn't good enough. Now he's coming over to the UK to prove a point against a very good fighter, tough fighter in Reece Bellotti that can really punch. This is to capture that belt. For me, if he wins on Saturday, he needs to have a defence or two. Then he can start talking about Galahad and Lee Wood. But you've got to Right now, after his last performance, he's not ready for those guys. But I know how talented Raymond Ford is. He's a super talent, but he's got to show it in the ring on Saturday. And I think he's got the bit between his teeth to put in a performance. It's going to be a good fight. So a really good test and a must-win for both guys.
Just a few more from me, Eddie. I haven't spoken to you since Kid Galahad signed that multi-fight deal. What big nights await him? Surely unification's in the pipeline now?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, we want to get a defence out probably in November, and then I think he should go into all those fights. I love the Navarrete fight. Hopefully the WBA mate Lee Wood, super champion. That's a great fight. Nottingham against Sheffield. Gary Russell Jr., Leo Santa Cruz. You know, they're all huge fights for him. He wants to go now. You know, he wants to make his money. He wants to be in those big fights. We have the platform to make those big fights globally. And, you know, a big addition to the team. We've worked for him for a long time, but great to announce a long-term deal with him so we can really plan his future.
A lot of noise starting to be made about KHAN-BROOK again. It's starting to gather a bit of momentum. Is your feeling if that fight happens this year, it won't be on a matchroom card?
It depends on the money, really. I think I would do the fight, but it's not the fight that it once was. Still a great fight, still interesting, but, you know, it's an auction, really, in that situation where you've got two guys just want to make as much money as they can. And, you know, for sure we'd do it on a card. We spoke to both guys, and yeah, I'd like to do the fight, but obviously at the right price as well.
So Conor Benn here today. Obviously Ben Khan has been spoken about for a while now. If it's not going to be Khan next for Conor Benn, if he wins in September, is that fight almost forgotten about?
Which one?
Conor Benn.
Conor Benn. No, listen, that's a tremendous fight. That's a much better fight than Brook Khan for me, because you've got a young lion in Conor Benn against, you know, British boxing legend in Amir Khan. That's you know, the other fight's just about money, which is fine. It happens a lot in boxing, but this is about Conor Benn actually trying to beat a great fighter in Amir Khan. So it's a fascinating fight. But, you know, first things first, Conor Benn against Granados. Then we go again probably in December, if that's not Amir Khan, or if Khan fights Brook and wins, or if Brook fights Khan and wins, we could fight one of those guys in the spring. Conor wants to fight all those guys at 147. He's got a huge future ahead of him.
Just a couple more from me. I was hoping you'd give us an update on a couple of fighters. I see Derek Chisora is back in the gym, so is Joseph Parker. Any update on a rematch?
Not yet. No, talking to both guys. Again, you know, all this process goes through negotiation. Everyone will want a fortune, and again, we have to see if it makes sense for us. Love Derek, love Joseph. Happy to do it again. So we'll see where those talks go.
And final one, just the latest on Devin Haney. Have you spoke to Devin recently?
Yeah, I spoke to Bill actually. Where are we now? Friday, Wednesday. We're going to get an offer into Jojo Diaz. There's other fights we're looking at as well. Richard Comey is a fight they've talked about. They'd be happy to take. So Devin's not a problem. Bill's not. They'll fight absolutely anyone. I haven't even got to ask them. So it looks like late October, early November, you'll see Devin back in the ring.
All right, Eddie Hearn, thank you as always for speaking to Boxing Social.